Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And today we're just doing an update video on what Bison's doing. Somebody had commented on this cattleman gun I was restoring and building and trying to make it better than what it was. And I did a few changes to it. The platform is it's a decent idea, but it's got flaws. cheap made parts. So I was able to get a tank. Thank you very much, Tim. And I 3D printed the forearm grip and the barrel bands. I got two of them on it. And then I've got the Picatinny rail, which is a 12-inch steel Picatinny rail. I made the cocking knob for it. I also had to do some inside work. When I got this breech, it had a broken sear. So I had to make a new sear. And then somebody had taken the pin in the center, which I have here. They had taken the pin and filed it out. I didn't do that. They did that. That was not wore like that. There was nothing in any of this area that would have made that wore from that far. That was done with a grinder or a file. They were trying to get it to go into safe without it being cocked. It's not going to happen. It's just the nature of this system. It has to be cocked before you can put it on safety. I mean, why do you need it on safety if it's already safe? If it ain't cocked? Anyway, the only way that this thing would fire is, if it wasn't cocked, was if this thing fell off of a 10-story building, this hit first and slammed a hammer into it, then it would fire. But anyway, so I had to make a new one, and we have several attempts here that were failures. Yes, Bison has failures from time to time. Even the one that worked has a flaw, but I'm not telling you that flaw because I don't care. Anyway, the orientation on these things was pretty difficult to achieve because nothing is oriented correctly or exactly the same. Yeah, your angles are different, so you just have to keep doing it until you get it right. But this is what I used, was a bolt. And so the third one finally worked. And I drilled it out because this one here is just a hair smaller than this one. So I wanted to use a quarter inch one, and they were so close to being the same, I just went ahead and drilled it out and reamed it, both pieces. I bolted the side on it and reamed both pieces so that they were both parallel with each other and a true machine fit. So that's when we made this to put in there and had to orient all them slots and holes and other slots and thread it. But anyway, put it all back together. It seems to be working right. Now, I did have a problem with it when I first started testing it. Once it got down to about 1,000 psi, it would dump all the air from the tank down the barrel, and it made a big old loud boom. So that kind of worries me because I don't want that happening. It shouldn't happen. So that tells me that either the spring is too weak, which I stretched it, probably gave it another ½ inch, and it hasn't done it since. So I'm still testing it, but I'm having a hard time getting it sighted in because the pellets I have are junk. They're all over the place. And the only ones that will shoot good in it is the JSB King Heavy 3395s. And I've got so little of them, I'm not ready to sacrifice my low count of pellets for a test. So until I can get some more JSB 3395s, I think I'm going to put this on hold for a while. But the good news is it is holding air. It's holding air very well. The first time I put it together, it leaked off. So I took this valve apart and cleaned it and took a drill and spun it to seat it, and it seems to be working. I made that firing pin, and it's neoprene, or not neoprene, but Delron, or Delrin. And it works really good. I just didn't have it seated the first time. And anyway, so then I just 3D printed a barrel brake. Let's see, what else did I do to this thing? And then I put the wrap on it. So I 3D printed the trigger, or the grip. It screws on just like a regular, any AR style grip will fit this. It's got a 1032 screw going up through it, all the way up into this. The trigger guard is also the grip. So then it bolts on through here, and then there's a hidden one under here for the other side of the trigger guard. So then I made the cocking lever and made all these pieces for it. Got that little block right there of aluminum, and that was a bits of the machine that been that small the piece, and 2 little teeny tiny screws going in the other side. I was holding my breath on them taps. And I thought that looked good. Now I can take these O-rings off and it would have 3 grooves, and then the rest of the grooves have holes all the way around them. I think I put 6 holes in it, all the way around each one of them. And polished some stuff here to give it a different look. And to get rid of the damn Cattleman name. Because I hope it don't prove to be worthy of its name. Then I put a non-folding stock adapter on it. Aluminum tube, buffer tube. I made this piece here out of a tank off of a Challenger 30 cal. And then I 3D printed this. I took a scope mount, one of those one-piece scope mounts. I took it apart and pulled the bottom off of it and machined it. I still got to make that black on the ends where I cut it, and screwed it to the bottom of the grip, and I put the holes in it to foregrip purposes, and to lighten it, and to use less material. And then it just goes on with the two adjusters. I can put it anywhere I want. If somebody's got a long arm, they can put it out here. I don't think anybody got that long an arm, but I'm usually around about right there. Now I gotta readjust it because I don't remember. Oh, I got it backwards. I put mine so that the nuts are on my wrist side, because on the finger side I can feel these. My fingers go up over top of it and I can feel these sharp corners on these screws. So I put it to where my hand is like that, it don't come nowhere near it. So on the other side, as you can see, these fingers would have been hitting those. So, and it's not all that heavy. We can probably find out how heavy it is right now. So let's just see how heavy this thing is. Let's just do it with the bipod on it. Alright. Just hope I can get it to set on there nice and straight. Alright. We are looking at 9 pound, 12.6 ounces. Not a 10 pound gun. Oh, pretty close. Oh Lord, that's crazy. But there it is. So also we got some new news. Bison has started a new project. And I have my buddy JC to thank. He asked me to make him something, and he showed me some examples, and I decided to go ahead and make my version of it. And where did I get grease from? Didn't get it off his gun. I think that thing's sexy though. But he wanted a, and I had never seen one before. It's not a bipod, it's a Joypod. And I've seen some 3D printed versions of it, and I decided to do a few changes to that and design my own. And right now I've got 4 printers running at the exact same time. Every one of them's running. The new one's not running because I don't like that new system I put on it. I'm going to have to put it back to original. But anyway, we got those parts. Alright guys, here we got the body. This is the main body. And it's doing a pretty good job. This here is that surface is rough. Side surfaces are nice and pretty, so hopefully the top will look okay. These are my bearings. These are my bearing caps. These are the ends of the tubes that I'm going to be putting on it for the feet. These are the feet. And this is a block that goes in the center. Now we're going to look at the other ones. You'll have to forgive the mess. You can't do good work if you don't make a mess, guys. But man, this one here is printing beautiful. That is a pretty finish on the side of that thing. I'm liking this one. Now these are the feet for the ends of the legs. This is what's going to be the adjustable rod. This is the main block that goes inside of it. This is the bearing block. And this is designed to slide back and forth with a precision fit. So we're going to see how good we are. Then these here are the drive-in square pins for the square tubing. And I'll show you that here in just a second. See how fast that second was? These are going to be the legs. So you got the body, and the legs will go in it at that orientation instead of that orientation. I did that for printing purposes, because if I'd have done this, it would have created an overhang on one side, and it wouldn't have printed. So I designed it this way, which actually is better anyway, because now you have more strength downward. This way you have only two sides keeping it from flexing. This way you have all four sides contributing to your strength. So it just makes sense. These are 12 inches long. I got two of those. They'll come out on each side of the head, just like that. Then I got these that will go like that in that piece that I printed for to hold that together. It'll go like that, and this will be adjustable up and down. And then there'll be a sled type foot on the bottom. So once we get those parts done, I've got thread or holes that I'm going to be threading, and there's going to be some machining to do on this thing, I'm sure. But we may have our holes too tight. It's hard to judge those things, and if you can't file them after you get them together, like some of them pockets that this goes up into, it's going to be going into it, and we're going to have a set screw on the block that goes into the side in two places. Well, I made a block that will push in here and keep this from squeezing, because if you go to put the set or the screw in it, or the set screw to take it out or in or out, then you'll squeeze this and it'll loosen up and get flimsy on you. So to combat that, I'll just put a piece of square, printed out of square solid piece of plastic, about 2 inches long, well, exactly 2 inches long, well, 50 millimeters long. And that way I can drill this out, I can thread those black pieces that's in here, and it'll have threads all the way through, but not all the way through this side, just to one side. So it's going to have a cap on each end of these just to keep it sealed up, and these here have a cap on them too that goes on and should be flush with the side of this. Might have to do some filing on it, but these are 6 inches long, so it's designed to where you have a base on top of the body that the bearings are, I don't know what the name of them bearings are. It's like a it's like a carrier bearing. It might be a carrier bearing, but it's so that it can swivel in all directions. So it's, I call it a swivel bearing. But that's what we're building. right now, and I'm doing some fancy stuff to it. It's also going to be drilled and tapped. The plate on top of it will be drilled and tapped for the 5-slot M-lock rail. And these things are available anywhere you look. eBay got millions of sellers. So they'll be held down with a 1032 screw, and the top of the plate will be mounted for that, or threaded for that. And then that way later on, if he wants to put a vise on it, he can add a vise to it, because he wants the Picatinny rail or flat. So but if he wants to put a clamp on it or a vise, then you can just unbolt one off of something else that's junk or whatever, and it's got a nice vise on it. Maybe you found one that's got a leg that just won't set straight. Maybe one got one that's got a broken leg. And there's your way to use your vise. Just mount it on your new one. So anyway, that's where the Bison Workshop's at. That's what we're doing, having our trunk coffee. Been getting into the special sauce. Captain Morgan came to the rescue last night. And I'm not a drinker. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Later. Oh, and don't forget to have your trunk coffee.